For the next hour, or maybe not that long, depending on how quickly I go, which is a constant problem on feedback on these things. I'm going to take you through an overview of document collaboration in UniPhi, and then the configuration components that you can utilize to set up document collaboration your way, and then just reviewing how that setup then applies again through an active day-to-day sort of document collaboration operation. So yeah, that's what the next 50 or so minutes entails. I've got the chat up, so if I haven't got any helpers with me today from UniPhi, so bear with me if I don't get back to you instantly, but if you've got any questions, feel free to use the chat and ask me any questions as I go through. All right, let's kick this off. So here we are in a UniPhi deployment. Just checking that that recording did start. Yes, it is. And the first thing to sort of comment on this is where are we going with and where are we coming from in terms of document collaboration? Now, UniPhi's target market is more the pointy end of construction and infrastructure portfolio and project management. So clients of construction services, client-side project managers, architects, engineers, and the like. And obviously in a construction phase project, the contractor will come in and often they'll have their own document collaboration system that they sort of foist on the rest of the team. But it takes a bit of time before they're involved. And even within that post-construction phase or in construction phases, we've just observed gaps in the way that software supports end users in that world. So most of what we're doing here can fully replace those systems, but because our client base isn't the contractor, it's very useful potentially in design phase. But we know there's a lot of design collaboration tools out there as well that we'll sort of talk about through the next hour as well. But even when that's happening, there's still gaps, and so I'll try and reference both full service, use it to collaborate across the project. Our vision for the system is that clients of construction services would integrate their value chain and they would use our system to manage all aspects of their portfolio of projects, not just a project. And within that would be onboarding the entire value chain in that, in the same way that a Coles or a Myer, Coles or a Woolworths will do that in terms of their supply chain. That's a Nirvana deployment. It's a vision type view of the world. And so to survive, we have lots of niche elements of that along that value chain that I'll take you through in this demonstration. So hopefully that gives you an idea of where we're coming from. And it's not a straight replacement. It's not necessarily a straight replacement to some of those document collaboration tools that are already in the marketplace. Even though I'll be replicating some of their functionality in this demonstration, I'll try and point out where it's a little bit different and how that might fit. Because UniPhi is a platform product, so you need to configure it to be how you want to use it to fit your needs. Okay, so for those who have never used UniPhi before, this is the administrator view. I'm logged into a demonstration deployment. It's portfolio driven. You've got visuals that are reporting on the portfolio embedded within the application. You've got modules going across the top. And when you click on modules, you'll get sub-navigation for things that you can do in between. And then there's this project structure that you can set up to manage different types of projects across your portfolio, which I'll harp on a fair bit is one of the big differences you'll get when deploying UniPhi as opposed to a project-based system. You're going to get that portfolio view. So for today's webinar, we're focusing on document collaboration. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at one particular project and drill in on that particular one, strangely called document collaboration webinar. And I'm going to go to the documents module. Now, the first thing to note is that you'll see a sub-navigation, documents, files, annotations, and register, all within the documents module. Now, UniPhi documents are documents that generate content from other modules in the system. So they can be creating transmittals, they could be creating variation, contract sum adjustment notices, they could be creating progress reports. So they're actually a report engine. They're a workflow engine. They're a version control engine of content itself. So it's not raw files. So raw files are stored in the file subnavigation. So in this particular system at the moment, there's just one UniPhi document, which was a design drawings transmittal. All UniPhi documents are generated from templates. There's a design drawings transmittal template in this system, and we've issued out one transmittal to people who are collaborating in this project. That transmittal will be a collection of the files that have been uploaded. So in the file subnavigation, you'll have raw files uploaded of any file extension type, capturing the revision and version as you do so, and the ability to track a whole bunch of things that you would expect to be able to track within a document collaboration system. So whether we've transmitted these files out in their latest version state, a whole bunch of metadata that you might want to capture, and the ability to add into this or take away from this particular view screens. You'll see the annotations here. You can also mark comments against that particular file as well, and then view history around who's seen and downloaded this particular document here. So all files are dumped into this area and categorized according to the way your metadata is configured. And then this little button here enables you to add or subtract the number of fields that are displayed in that table to get the register that you need. Once you've got the table, everything is filterable. So you can see transmitted versus pending transmittal. If I wanted to just see pending transmittal, I would select that, and I just get that subset. So that's a common structure across all of UniPhi for filtering information. And then just click the big filter on the right-hand side to go and clear everything that's been filtered in here. So there's the first sort of screen for file collaboration. One of the differences between this and most document collaborations, when you actually do upload these files, if there's annotations made to the PDFs, they will be extracted out of that file and put into their own register. So under the annotations subnavigation, you will see these files here, the same file. This one here has 2 comments, additional text and priority, time frame, review layout. This one here has 2 comments within it, and so on and so forth. So those comments are being dynamically stripped out of the PDF when the file has been uploaded into the system. And there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do, which I'll show later on, around managing those annotations and working through the next design review process to get the next version of your design out the door. And then finally, in the register tab, it's all about, have we sent the right information to the right people, and have they actually downloaded those files, viewed those files, etc. And so Jane Smith in this instance has received 4 files and she has downloaded them. Myself, I've received the transmittal, but I haven't actually downloaded the files yet. So there's no way I can go back to Joe Bloggs, who in this instance is the document control, and go, I never received the files, because we know that I've actually gone in and viewed the transmittal. I just didn't click the download button to download the files. Otherwise, this would just be a white envelope saying that I have sent it to myself in the guise of Joe Bloggs, and they haven't actually viewed the email yet. So they're the 4 sub-navigations that we're going to be looking at within document collaboration. We're also going to be using the issues module, my favorite, in the system for project management, to drive the design reviews and the design changes as the issues come through. But before we go into doing the day-to-day, I want to go through the setup of this structure. How did we get the transmittal document to be configured? Who can see what? What happens when I want extra fields in my file annotations so that I can filter on different things? How do I set all of that up? So the first thing is to think about UniPhi's party role model, which is actually simple, but also quite flexible. So in the resources of this project, I have a document collaboration webinar still selected. I've got 3 people on the project, and they are in different roles. Now, those roles are made up. Every client has a different list here. And so you'll see there's a whole range of different roles I can be allocated into. And I also have an access level to access the system. So I'm Joe Bloggs in this instance, and I am an administrator. However, if I was to look at someone else's login, so I'll go to Chrome here, I'll bring this across, you'll see that this one doesn't have any costs or contracts or anything like that. It's a much more abridged version. And when I click on the little hamburger here, I'm Jane Smith, and I'm logging in as a team member. So that's my access to the system. That's how I get in. There's a third level, there's actually other levels as well, but there's a third level I'm talking about in this presentation, which is document view only. And what that enables you to do is send a transmittal full of large files to a supplier or someone who needs to access those who doesn't have access to UniPhi. It's a free license. You can email out the transmittal. It'll have a ability to download those files, and you can still track whether they've done that or not. And they'll need a document view only license to access that. And I'll demonstrate that as well. But that you'll also need to keep those access levels in mind when you can configure the transmittal and when you configure access to the system. And so going back to my system administrator view, Jane is a team member. I am in document view only, which means I can't see anything other than just transmittals that have been sent to me. I can't see anything else. I can't access the system at all. And then Joe Bloggs is system administrator, which is this person here. Now, these roles here, when I'm allocated to them, they actually then have functionality that they inherit when you allocate them. And to see that, I go to the little hamburger, methodology, roles. And so this is where you can name and describe any of your roles however you like. But what's important is the access level that they are given. And so you'll see that different roles here have different access levels. And when I scroll down, you'll see that contractor has document view only license, which Mark Heath in this instance has been given contractor allocation on the document collaboration process. So that means I can collaborate with them on a document view only basis. Jane Smith has been given team member access, and she's got team member access level on that. And so she'll be able to not only just view transmittals, but view issues and other things as well, and do full collaboration, which is like the real nirvana, really fast, rapid collaboration around people integrated on the one project team, all in harmony to deliver a great outcome for the client rather than an adversarial relationship where you're trying to cloak and dagger people and get variations. So there are different cultural arrangements that we support in UniPhi, cloak and dagger versus full transparency and collaboration and anywhere in between. And so you need to know these access levels to determine what you're going to do in terms of how far around your collaboration you want to go. So then we take this one step further in the document system where we're going to transmit out via email a whole bunch of files for people to be able to download. And obviously we're not sending the files, we're sending a link to the files so they can download them to get around that problem of large files. And this is a web-based application, so it's perfect for that. And when I go to the methodology, there's another option here called templates. And I've got this filtered for drawing transmittal templates, and there's one here called this design drawings transmittal. And I'm just going to edit that particular template to show you how it gets set up. One of the things that gets set up when you set it up is who can view it. And by setting that to document view, the lowest level, that means that Mark Heath, who is a document view only license, will be able to see the transmittal when I email it out to him. And so that's a relevant thing to make sure it's a place, otherwise they won't be able to access the transmittals when you send them. Just cancelling that now, the next thing I need to think about is who is controlling all of this. So typically on document collaboration projects, there will be a document controller. You would have seen that there was a role called document controller in the methodology roles. And again, when you go to this hamburger, you'll see this big configuration menu here, and you'll see documents. The first sub-navigation on documents is who can upload files into the system and transmit them. And document controller is ticked here. That means that anyone in any other role cannot put files into the files sub-navigation that you saw when I'd started this presentation. And so if you don't want that, if you want free flow, anyone can do it. It's not a bad way to go, actually, because it's all version controlled anyway, and it's stripping out comments, and people can log their own comments against the PDF and upload that file. The next person do the same thing with the same file, and it'll just sort of handle it. But if you want more control, you limit it by ticking this box. That means the person in that role. And that means that if I am not in that role on a different project, I wouldn't be able to do it. So it's a portfolio system. If I select a different project, Joe Bloggs isn't in the document controller role, they're not going to be able to upload files into the system for that project, but they can for the one that's called document collaboration webinar that I'm looking at now. So, so that needs to be set up. Just leaving it blank means that anyone can. Leave all edit roles blank to do everyone. Now, while we're looking at this screen, there's two sub-navigations in this configuration I want to talk about as well in the setup. So one of the things that people do a lot when they start to use UniPhi is they go, oh, I need extra fields. Well, everything in UniPhi has custom field relationships. So issues do, contracts do, resources do, projects do, and document files do. So when I go to the file custom fields, you'll see that we've got two custom fields created here. And when I go to the document collaboration view, you'll see those fields are in the table, and they are a list. Their field type is a list. And I can create as many as I like. So I can do, and when I do that, you'll see that they don't have to be lists. You've got currency, date, list, number, and text. If I select list, I need to have created the list beforehand. Now, in this demonstration deployment, there's quite a few different lists. And if I was to select bearing, for example, that would then enable another list to be selected when uploading files that relates to whatever's in the list called bearing. So now we've got three. And then how do I create new lists? That's another configuration item. So when I go to the configuration engine here, one of the options is custom lists. It has two sub-navigations. One is drop-down lists and one is checklists. These are all of those drop-down lists that I had options to check from. This is the one that we're using for the discipline in the file system. It has just three. I can edit that and add another one. And that will then be available for selecting when I'm adding new files into the system. Or I can create a new list and dump the contents in there for that list to be able to be selected as well. So that can then get associated to the document file system and so on and so forth. So you've really got unlimited metadata that you can capture against your files by doing that. Let's see if I've covered everything there. And then the same happens if I go back to my configuration on the document system under annotations. And so annotations are PDF comments. So for example, if you're doing a design review collectively in a workshop and using Bluebeam to mark up the drawings, that will then export that to PDF. And what Bluebeam does, which is pretty cool, is then annotates all of the comments down the bottom of the PDF. And when you upload that PDF into UniPhi, we will strip that out as a one-by-one reference, which you'll see in a moment. When you're doing that, if your comment has a certain structure to it, so for example, you know that you want to know the priority and the time frame of whatever the comment is. If people put priority colon and then high and time frame colon and then a date, we will automatically fill in those custom fields when you upload it into the system. So there's some smarts around that as well, but you need to be able to communicate that out to the people making the comments, and they need to be disciplined enough to do it. But you can always update it yourself manually if they haven't quite got it right. You can see here we've got two field types being used there on that one for priority and time frame. And again, you just click the plus button and you can create more, create a separate field type, and away you go. All right, so that's the setup. That's the configuration. Now what we're going to do is start doing some stuff. And the first thing we're going to do is some real basic things. So I'm going to go back to the documents module. I'm going to go into our project. I'm going to go to file sub-navigation. And I'm going to bring across some files. Whoops, just trying to make that a bit smaller. All right, so I'm going to go into this, this one here. And these are the new revisions of these three files. And so I'm just going to, these are already in the system, but these are new revisions that the doc control has been asked to release. So this might have come out of a project-wise system that's now being sent to be released to the general public or the other consultants to review and comment on. And so I just drag those in. And you can see that based on the file name, it's picked up the file number and said, okay, that already exists. So we automatically increase the version number from 4 to 5 for that one and 5 to 6 for the other two. And you can see that it says it's superseded. If it didn't exist, it'd be green and say new, and it'd be version 1. I'm going to show revisions in a separate demonstration a bit later, but for now, a few things to pick up. The last round of revisions had really basic text put against the descriptions. You can edit that and type that in. You can manually select these disciplines and drop down lists that we have here that we were talking about in the setup. Again, I see that's electrical, I did it around the wrong way. Mechanical, electrical, mechanical, and go through and do that. Alternatively, what I'm going to do, I'll leave that like that for now, and I'll just select one here. That's the new one that we added in. That's the new field, and hit save. So you'll see that for reasons, some of them are blocked, well, empty, I should say. And you can also see that we can't see that extra field here. That's where you go to this little screen, hit the plus, add it in, and you'll now have it. The other thing to note around this, maybe some people don't know, is you can drag that stuff around to change the order. So file type is moving over, uploaded by over here, what have you. Let's put our status here. And of course, file type might be just a nuisance, and you might want to free up some space here. Again, you're just clicking on that, saying, I don't want file type, I don't want size, but everything else is good. Let's do that. So this view is always only showing you the latest version, but if you drill in, you can get versions 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and see those past versions in there. But this screen is the latest. These 3 that I just uploaded haven't been transmitted, which I'm going to do in a minute. But before I do, I just want to show how this could be populated. What you can do is you can download this list into Excel. And just because Excel's got copy paste, rather than have to click those drop downs, you just go into Excel, you fill it in, and then you import it back in. And it'll update the metadata of those files. So here's our dump. I'm going to assume they're all north, so I'm just going to go like that. And they're all for review. And then I just highlight all of this stuff. The key is this key here, version ID. Come back in here, click the upload button, paste, and you can see it already maps. You can validate. Yes, that's all good. That's all been updated. Still missing my validations. Well, that was a great demonstration for you. In essence, that should all be north right now. Something I'll need to look into. Not sure what I did wrong there. Someone will tell me later. But that's the concept, is that you don't have to go through and manually edit each one and update it through the drop down, but you can download the option and upload it through there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to send this out for yeah, I thought I mapped the right field, but you're probably right, Graham and Caitlin. Yeah, mess up for young fellas. All right, so I could have mapped the wrong field to update on there, guys, but I might try it again later to make a double fool of myself. But for now, I just want to get this transmittal out into the marketplace. So if I had 1,000 files here and you just uploaded 100 and the previous 900 have been transmitted, you would use this filter to get the latest. You can also filter by discipline because you've got that. And so you could say, okay, I want to just do the electrical, or in this instance, I'll do mechanical. So there's 2. And that's a subgroup of your distribution. So again, in your resources, you can use the role-based allocation to put all the mechanical consultants into the same role so that they will then appear in a filter when you go to transmit. So there's a few configuration things to get distribution set up. But if I now just tick the little box here, I can then transmit this file out, these 2 files out to whoever I need to, remembering that they have to have at least a document view only license to access this, which is free. So when I click the plus document, little yellow plus document button there, did that a bit quick, but when I click that, it generated a new tab. And this is a UniPhi document wizard. I'm going to use this design drawings transmittal. It's going to name itself based on some business rules that we set up when we configured it. And it's just got some steps that create the transmittal. This is the 2 files that we're sending out. In the template, you can work out what fields get included in that. So if you had additional fields, those custom fields, you can add them into the template. And then this is another unique thing about UniPhi. You can always then link this to issues that you've been addressing through this phase. So some design change issue would have been logged from the last review. You can have good project management around that, who's doing it and when. And what you do by linking that into this review, the people who get the transmittal, if they're a team member access, couldn't do it on document view only, they'd be able to see all the commentary and discussions around that particular issue that was changed and why these drawings are being reissued. And so there's a linking there of conversation to drawing or specification or whatever other file you're transmitting. And then with the transmittal, this is where you can potentially classify it into groups by role and tick subsets. I'm just going to transmit this out to Jane and myself, but I'm actually Joe Blogs as well, Jekyll and Hyde style. And when I get to the end here, I would literally sign this off straight away because this is going to be a finalized transmittal. And then I hit the email button. And the first thing to note in this is that the template has been set up to embed the document as email text. And this is the body text. So the people would get this as the body text of the email. And the document view person could just click download all. They'd be asked to log in, and then they'd be able to download all of these files that you've just transmitted to them. So I'm going to do that now. It's going to 2 email addresses that I have access to. And then we're going to do another transmittal where we just send it as a link. I'm going to explain why one might be better than the other, but it's more up to you which way you want to go. So when I hit send, that's now been sent out. And if I just go to the register now, you'll see that there's that white envelope of the 2 files that I've sent to those 2 people, but they haven't actually viewed it yet and they haven't downloaded it yet. And equally, if I look at the transmittal, that would be registered at the bottom of the transmittal as well, that I sent it to those 2 people. And when they view it, they'll come in here as a view history at the bottom, having viewed or downloaded that particular file. So I just heard the gedung of the email. So let's come over. This is the one that was sent to, well, this is one that was received by the UniPhi support inbox. And if they click this download all now, they would then be proven that they've actually downloaded that particular file. If I copy that link, if I click on it, it'll open up in the Joe Blogs browser, which is no good. So what I can do is I can copy the link, come into here and paste it in. And now that's downloaded and it will recognize as having downloaded under Jane. And so in theory, if I go back into my, did I go into Firefox? I went into the wrong one. Sorry, this is where it gets a bit complicated. I'm doing different people. So this is Chrome. If I paste it in now, it has to be within their login. So this is the Jane Smith login, right? Let's click again, Jane Smith. So this will recognize Jane. Again, it's downloaded again. And that's what I'm going to need so that when I go into here and look at my register, you can see Jane's been ticked as downloading, but I still haven't. Now, I am in a document view only license and I've been logged in under the Edge browser. So it's basically different logins. Now, I can't actually see any navigation in UniPhi because I'm document view only. But when I click on that link, it'd open up like this. You can see it says download file. When I hit enter on that, it's going to download, but it's going to download under the Mark Heath profile, which means that when I come in here now, we've all downloaded it. All done. They've downloaded the file. You can know that they've got those 2 on their particular computers. Now, for some reason, I've lost you all. Can't see the chat. It's better. All right. So again, you would have seen I haven't actually logged into or actually seen anything in UniPhi other than that file download, which I would have done by clicking the link in the file. Check my notes. They're up to me. All right. So what I'm going to do now is go into that file and just do that process again, but this time just show you a couple of other little things that are worth noting. And this time I'll transmit it with a file link instead of with a embedded email. So in this revision B directory, we've put the _B at the end of the files. And so what happens when you do that and you upload it into, oops, hang on, I've got to get to this right page first, into the file system. You can click the little paperclip and upload, but drag and drop seems to be the rage. So if I drag that across this time, you'll see that this time the new revision automatically picked up as B. The version still increased as well. And you can manually revert that back to version 1 if you wanted B1. It's up to you. And I'd be interested in feedback on whether that should be automated or not. At the moment, it's just increasing the version. But the revision is now B. And so if you put rev B or some sort of annotation after an underscore in your file naming convention, UniPhi will pick up that that's changed the revision. Again, I'm going to select just one row of this and see if I can make a fool of myself again. And hit save. And now, hopefully you'll realize why that's there. And it's because we've got a filter on. So when you say, hey, I've got files in the system, why is there nothing there? Just go over and click the little clear all filter button and you'll be back to where you needed to be. So now we've got 3 pending transmittal again, the ones we just transmitted a minute ago. And just to quickly check this process again. Going to just add those 2 bits into there. Oops, once I've clicked enable edit. Serious brain fog today. Can't even copy paste in Excel. Highlight that range. I'm in the project, so I don't need to pick, because I'm in the project, I don't need to select the project. And I'm not very confident on this because it really should work with it. Oh, I didn't map anything over here. Is that what everyone was saying? All right, that's pretty dopey. I didn't map the actual fields I wanted to update. Once you do it once, it will do it every time. It'll remember that you've mapped that field. And we should be good this time. I don't think I added a discipline into the file, but the for information and northeast have been updated. But I think if I go to my file, yeah, I left those blank. So we're all good. I didn't actually map the field. Wasn't anything wrong with the system. We're up and running. I love webinars. Okay. Now, what I'm going to quickly do is just transmit this again with a different perspective. And so again, I would filter, and at this time I'll filter for blank and transmit. Same issue. Same people. Now this time, what I'm going to do when I'm going to email it, I'm going to change it to send a link to the document. And so what that will do is you can say whatever you wish in here. And then it'll have, if you've configured UniPhi, it'll have your email signature configured against your profile. So it'll go out with that. And then this time what they'll do is they'll get a link to the UniPhi transmittal document in the system rather than the file download being embedded in the email. So sending that off. So again, we should be able to see the register now having the white envelopes there for us not having viewed this revision B. And then if I go to email, this is what they receive. Hello, all, webinar going great. Please review the document at here. And when I paste that into, I'll do this into Edge, if I can find it. I'd normally just click on the link, but it opens up in my default browser, which means it'll think I'm Joe Blogs, no good. This time when I do that, you can see that I'm still got nowhere to navigate in UniPhi, but I'm seeing the UniPhi version of the document, so the HTML of the UniPhi transmittal. Now, when I view that, what the document controller will receive as a register is this orange bit, but not the green ticks, because it means I haven't actually downloaded the files yet. And then what happens is when I go in here and I click download oil, it now knows that I've downloaded those files. So if I refresh the screen, there were only 2 in there, so that's been ticked. This relates to the other files that I was looking at previously that I transmitted at the start of the webinar. So, 2 different methods of sharing information. What you do get in the other one is we don't know when you've actually viewed the email here. That doesn't, when you open it up in Outlook, we don't know. Okay, we don't have that information. But if they click the link and for whatever reason don't download the documents, we still know that they've viewed the files. And so sending it like that might be better. The only reason maybe the other way is better is that's more traditional. That's what people tend to get when you send out transmittals through other systems. So it might be less change management. So anyway, that was a bit of a long-winded way of getting that information across, but there's options there, like most things in UniPhi, to fit whatever peculiarities you like to adopt. Okay, so getting near the end of it now. Looking at my notes. The only other thing I wanted to go back to is the annotations. So while we've been uploading all of these files, what they've been doing is adding the annotations in, and this shows all of the history of the annotations through the revisions, not just the latest version. Because one workflow for this could be, and we've done this on a project, it worked really well, you send out a thing for review to 10 people, they all write comments in the 10 versions of that file, upload it, yes, you get 10 versions, but you also get the comment thread. And once you've got the comment thread, you'll see how timeframe : 15th of March automatically went into the timeframe. But the medium thing here is probably because there was no return carriage. And so the medium didn't get picked up into the priority. But that will automatically work if you get people to structure their comments correctly. You can get them to color code the comments in the PDF, and that can be another thing that you can then filter on. So filter on all purples, for example. And that might mean something to you. You have to decide what you want that to mean. And you can read the comments dynamically that are embedded within these PDFs and do what I think is the coolest part of the whole thing. So what we've seen is Excel spreadsheets that are tracking this, and they'll have comments in the Excel spreadsheet with the reference of the file. And then they'll have things in there like such and such to do something by a certain date in the spreadsheet in the cell. So the way we're enhancing that is you'll see that definitions need to be reviewed is a comment against this particular PDF. I can tick the box here, click the wrench, create the issue, assign it to someone who needs to do that. They'll get notified, log in, see this PDF and any comment I've made. And you can start to manage that out. So in your issues system, you're going to have the issues that you're tracking with due dates and people assigned to them, escalation, that can go into reports, drill in. And if someone then replies and they're a document viewing license and they reply via email, everyone knows, again, you can go into UniPhi from the email system. So I'm just going to get an email up that we can log. So here's a dummy email that has come in based on that review. Within that email, if you go to the Outlook marketplace, you can add the Save to UniPhi icon and append this to an issue that already exists or create a new one if it doesn't. So there's our document collaboration or webinar. There's the definitions need to be reviewed. Hit save. Delete that email, file it, do what you like, move on to the next email, or click that link, get taken into the issue. There's the email there. There's the original comment. There's the comment from the PDF that was done a long time ago. And you just keep going. There's the PDF that you can download to review, create another action. They get notified, they get cranky. You set a due date in the past, so they're automatically overdue and start hounding. And so I've seen spreadsheets when people have been, using a different document collaboration tool. So there's a document file system for sharing transmittals, but they still have to have these spreadsheets to track all of that stuff. This is to do away with that. So this is, great question, Travis. This is UniPhi 21. So that's why I'm not very slick at demonstrating. It's real hot off the press stuff. The first release of the document collaboration came out in December. So people who are on our bleeding edge program would have got the files and annotations where there were some. They only appear if you have files that have comments in them. But the register is new. And so we've had some bleeding edge people do a tender collaboration on it, and had a few other design collaboration projects run through it and give us our first round of feedback. And from that feedback, we generated this register view. And so, this is something that we're keen to expand and enhance. So as you get your UniPhi 21, which is due to be released in 5 weeks, you'll be able to get all of this functionality and hopefully send us some feedback on what we need to improve and grow for the next round. Okay, next month we are, it's going to be 5 days before August UniPhi 21 release, which is a major release. We're going to do a webinar on one of the key features, which is AI comes to UniPhi. And hopefully you'll be able to come along and join us for that. It's some pretty cool stuff. Topics like, what did I do today? So for timesheet users, being able to be told what they did today, and not so much about how long it took them to do it, but just a memory jogger for then being able to put timesheets in. If you've got a really long issue comment thread, so you would have seen in this issue list here, we're starting to get a lot of comments going. You might want that summarized. When creating progress reports, there's always an executive summary. You can ask the system to summarize your document for you, and it'll write the executive summary. So a few little embedded AI tools coming in UniPhi 21 that we're going to show off in our next month's webinar. So look out for that, and please join. Great to see you.